play on the field and see how they do.
I know you guys aren't out there during workouts, but as far as people maybe transforming their body, good weight, that kind of stuff, are there any guys that you've heard of or that you've seen that have
Yeah,
stood out?
I mean, we get an update as assistant coaches on their weight twice a week. Coach Batson and his staff, they do an excellent job. I think Taven Feaster's a guy that saw him yesterday leaving the weight room. I think he's down to about 215 now, really looks good. You know, a guy like T. Higgins, you know, I believe that he's up over 200 pounds, somewhere around 203, 204. You know, he was in the 180s whenever he got here a year ago, so just to see that transformation is really encouraging.
Coach, Trevion Thompson listed as a co-starter on the depth chart. Is that just a reflection of how good his spring really was?
Yeah, I mean, Trevion's a guy that really, I mean, he's been around, this is going into his 5th year, so he and Hunter Renfro are really the two leaders in that wide receiver room right now. But you know, Trevion's the guy that is, you know, he knows he has the ability to help us. I think he had probably argument can be made that he had one of the best springs of all the wide receivers in our room. And you know, T. Higgins is a guy that has a lot of potential. I think, you know, he has a huge ceiling. I think he's going to be an outstanding player here for us before he leaves. Hopefully, we see that this year. But that was a really big battle between those guys, and to be honest, it was too close to call coming out of the spring.
Coach, you mentioned what the game looks like for Trevor at points in time. After 14 starts last year, what does it look like for Kelly compared to what he looked like in camp last year?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's one thing that we're really excited about is to see Kelly, you know, a year after having a chance to be a starter and having the experience that he had. You know, last year at this time, he was really going into the season as a potential first-year starter, and there's a lot of improvement from your first year to your second year. And you know, we felt Kelly had a really good spring. I know he's disappointed in his performance in the spring game, but the spring game is not always indicative of, you know, the other 14 practices and a month and a half of spring work. So we've definitely seen improvement by Kelly, and excited to see him here as we get kicked off in August.
Coach, from what you heard about Justin Ross, how ready do you think he is to hit the ground running this August?
With who?
With Justin Ross.
Yeah, I've been excited. You know, obviously haven't been able to get out on the field, but just talking to some of the other wide receivers and quarterbacks, you know, he's made some good plays this summer. I think the biggest thing is just trying to learn the signals, learning where to line up, all those type of things. But as a coach, you love having a guy like that come into your room as a freshman. I mean, just physically where he is, and his skill set is something that's going to, I think, only help us as he learns what he's doing. And a lot of that we can't figure out until we get into August. But all the returns I've gotten from the other receivers have been very strong so far this summer.
If you had to compare him to past guys like a Sammy Watkins or somebody like that, what would you go with that?
Yeah, I think he's probably in a more similar build to Mike Williams. I think he's actually probably physically a little bit bigger than Mike was whenever Mike got here. I think Mike was somewhere around 180 pounds when he got here, and you know, I believe Justin is over 200, somewhere around 210. But as far as skill set, length, ability to go up and get the ball, probably will be more in the mold of Mike Williams.
How much do you think the new kickoff rule will affect the game in general?
Yeah, that'd be interesting to see. I think as coaches we're still all talking about it, and that's really what we'll do here over the next 2 weeks is kind of look at some of the new rules and figure out our strategy going into the season. And I think for everybody it's kind of a wait and see, you know, how it goes. You got to make a decision what you want to do. And you know, to be honest, I think there'll be certain times in the game you may want to do one thing, and you know, maybe other times in the game that you want to return it. And so I don't think everybody's going to have a hard and fast rule that's kind of a do this all the time. I think it'll be something within a game. It's just another decision, you know, that the coaches have to make, and a lot of it will be how the game is going, field position, how your return team is doing, how the kickoff coverage team is on the other side. You know, I think personally one thing that'll be interesting is I think it's going to put a lot more pressure on the kickoff coverage team because they're going to have to run down the field every time, assuming the ball is coming out. And as teams consistently maybe take the fair catch, like a lot of people are assuming they're going to do, you know, I think it's natural for that kickoff coverage team to relax a little bit, and then all of a sudden they surprise you and they bring it out. So that whole kind of cat and mouse game will be interesting to to see how it all develops.
A question you may have been asked earlier.
Sorry?
No, sorry. Game-ready maturity, some of the new wide receivers, not the new wide receivers, but guys who maybe will have a bigger role this year. Did you see that walking off the field and after the spring game? And is that a big conversation during the build-up to the season?
Sure. I think that was a huge part of the spring for the wide receiver group, was really getting those young guys ready to go. I mean, I think we have some talented guys that have the ability to make plays that we're going to count on this fall, but really to see them kind of grow up. It's different from kind of being a role player to come off the bench here and there for a few plays and actually be out there for an entire drive, 10-play drive, to go win the game. And so we really strained those guys this spring and felt like those guys responded. And really, it's physical and mental maturity, and that's kind of what this spring and off season has been for those guys. But I'm excited. I mean, you got guys like Amari Rogers and T. Higgins, DeAndre Overton, T.J. Chase, and then the freshmen Darian Kendrick and Justin Ross. Those are all young, talented guys that I think will be deserving of opportunity.
With all the talk about the quarterback question, few things are more important in game than the wide receiver's relationship with the guy throwing him the ball. And do you see a significant difference in Kelly's delivery style compared to, the new guy or even Chase's?
Yeah, not a lot. I mean, so much about what we do offensively is really about timing. The ball has to be at a certain spot at a certain time, and it's the receiver's job to get there, and it's the quarterback's job to put the ball there. And how the ball gets there doesn't really matter as long as it's on time. And our big mentality as a wide receiver group going in, maybe when you have some competition going on at the quarterback spot, is hey, it doesn't matter who the guy is. It's really all about us being where we need to be, and when the opportunities are there to make the plays, then we got to do that. So really focusing on ourselves, and I feel like our guys did that this spring and summer as well.
Going back to T.J. Chase and DeAndre Overton and Cornell Powell, talk about those guys and what their year means to them this year.
Yeah, those are guys that have kind of waited their turn. They put in a lot of hard work, and that's one thing about our group. Guys know when they come to Clemson there's going to be other talented wide receivers there, but we believe in playing a lot of guys. I feel like all those guys are ready for the next step, whatever that may be. I mean, it's a very competitive. I mean, there could be an argument made that the wide receiver position is even more competitive, than some of the other positions as far as how much playing time guys are going to get, and really all that's going to be decided here over the next month and a half as we get ready for the opener.
And guys, with TV done, if we want to move into the shade, we can.